She asked the inspector to locate her husband, but he ordered the officers to arrest her. She tried to escape by punching a police officer, but a group of other officers cornered her. In the end, they handcuffed her and locked her up. The movie opens with a scene of Avia, at 15 years old, jolted awake in the middle of the night by the sounds of intruders breaking into her home with the intent to kill her father, a renowned warrior and notorious criminal. As they approach, Ava recalls the fighting skills her father taught her. She quickly grabs a knife and rushes into the hallway to confront the attackers. Before her eyes, she witnesses her father being brutally murdered. Although she anticipated this day would come, Ava is still stunned by the horrific sight. Since childhood, her father had trained her to face the dangers of life. In her desperation, she bravely picks up a weapon, transforming her fear into strength, and systematically takes down each thug. 12 years later, Ava has just left rehab and is preparing to start a new chapter in her life. She is about to marry Derek, but Derek's father, Robert, is concerned that Ava may relapse and doesn't understand her past or family. Despite his objections, Derek remains determined to fully trust Ava and her relatives together. Right after their beautiful wedding ceremony at the church, surrounded by family and friends showering them with blessings, the couple set off for Spain to enjoy their honeymoon. They stayed at Derek's childhood home and fully relished their time together, both engaged in a variety of exciting activities like off-roading, jet skiing, and flying in a light aircraft. The romantic and sweet moments they shared made the trip even more memorable. One evening, they dined at a charming seaside restaurant, immersed in intimate conversation against the stunning ocean backdrop and a peaceful atmosphere. When Derek asked to use the restroom, he requested Ava to wait for him. Ava remained seated, soaking in the serene beauty of the sea, until a stranger named Manny approached with a charming smile. He complimented her and expressed interest in getting to know her. Ava cleverly mentioned she was on her honeymoon with her husband. As Ava and Manny exchanged pleasantries, Derek returned and politely introduced himself. Manny immediately offered to show them some lesser-known spots on the island, and her promised an exciting adventure with ziplining. The next day, Manny insisted that before they started their adventure, they should stop by a famous club known for its romantic atmosphere. Initially, Derek hesitated a bit, but Ava, filled with excitement, cheerfully urged him to join in with an encouraging smile. After some persuasion, Derek finally agreed. When they arrived, the vibrant and lively atmosphere was much more than what Manny had described. Twinkling lights and energetic vibes filled the space. Ava and Derek quickly got caught up in the music, immersing themselves in the fun and dancing passionately. But just then, a local thug named Big Biz set his sights on Ava with malicious intent. He created a distraction by sending a girl over to Derek, pulling him away from Ava. Seizing the opportunity, Biz stealthily approached Ava, touching her inappropriately and forcing her to dance with him. Seeing this, Derek rushed over, demanding that Biz back off. Tension escalated quickly as Biz ignored him, leading to a heated argument. Manny tried to intervene to defuse the situation, but it was too late when Biz suddenly threw a punch straight at Derek's face. Unable to take it anymore, Ava unexpectedly revealed her true strength. With determination and skill, she swiftly took down Biz and his gang, forcing them all to back down. Every move Ava made showcased her exceptional fighting skills, with each strike landing precisely. The club owner, Silvio, monitored the situation through security cameras while Manny quickly got Derek and Ava into the car and drove off. Shortly after, Silvio arrived at the club and warned Biz to stop his unruly behavior. On the way, Manny couldn't stop praising Ava's fighting skills, admitting he had never witnessed anything so spectacular. However, he also cautioned that Biz was very dangerous and might seek revenge. Derek reassured Ava, trying to keep her calm. The next morning, a loud knock echoed from Derek's front door. When they opened it, Manny hurriedly announced that Biz was on his way to kill them, along with his gang. Derek and Ava panicked, unsure of what to do. But then, Manny burst into laughter and revealed that it was just a prank. He then took them to a zipline area to start a new adventure. Ava was the first to try it. Although she was initially hesitant, she quickly overcame her fear and fully enjoyed the thrilling experience. Derek recorded the entire experience as he zipped across the zipline, adding excitement to the adventure. Manny then took them to the longest zipline on the island, stretching over a mile. Ava hesitated and decided not to participate, but Derek was eager to give it a try. Manny led the way, taking off ahead. Derek launched shortly after, filming as he zipped along. Everything went smoothly until Derek's safety harness began to weaken and eventually tore. Realizing what was happening, the line snapped completely, forcing Derek to grip on with his bare hands. But Ava and JoJo watched in horror as this unfolded. Manny quickly zipped over to Derek, trying to save him by clamping his legs around him and moving forward. Despite his best efforts, Derek lost his grip and fell. Manny was terrified, while Ava frantically ran toward where Derek had fallen to find him. JoJo hurriedly called for an ambulance. With courage, Ava dashed into the dense forest, calling out for Derek in panic. After a tense search, she finally found him, badly injured and in critical condition. Then, Ava and JoJo rushed to get Derek into the ambulance, but Manny had vanished in the chaos. When Ava tried to get in the vehicle to accompany Derek, the driver refused, claiming that the insurance policy only allowed for the transportation of patients. Despite Ava's desperate pleas, they only handed her a hospital card and drove away. Undeterred, Ava was determined to follow them on her bike, but she slipped and fell while trying to avoid a car. Fortunately, a kind passerby helped her and took her to the hospital. At the reception desk, Ava was shocked when Nurse Lita informed her that no patient named Derek had been admitted. Ava presented the hospital card, but Lita confirmed that Derek was not there and that the hospital did not work with any insurance companies. Ava's mind was spinning. She felt completely lost and bewildered. In desperation, she called Derek and heard his phone ringing from inside the hospital. Ava rushed into a room, but the person inside was not Derek. A security guard escorted her out and suggested she check other hospitals. Ava continued her relentless search but still found no trace of Derek. The next day, Derek's father, Robert, and his sister, Sandy, went to the police station to file a missing person report. Ava explained the entire situation to the inspector, showing them a picture of Manny and mentioning JoJo, while also presenting the hospital card. However, the inspector quickly discovered that Derek was not on the patient lists of any nearby hospitals. During the questioning, the inspector proposed that Derek might have been kidnapped, as wealthy Americans are often targets for abductions in Spain. Soon after, they went to the zipline to investigate further. The owner of the zipline stated that he didn't know Manny and insisted that Manny didn't work there. He then led them to JoJo, and Ava immediately recognized him. However, JoJo coolly denied knowing Ava, insisting that she and Derek had never been there and that he didn't know who Manny was. Furious, Ava lunged at JoJo, grabbing his collar and threatening him to tell the truth. Despite Ava's threats, JoJo stubbornly stuck to his lies. The inspector intervened, trying to calm the situation as Ava's anger escalated. The owner, annoyed by the incident, demanded that Ava be removed, even calling her crazy. The inspector then showed Ava the video footage of the fight in the club and asked her to explain. Ava recounted the details of the incident, mentioning Big Biz. However, the inspector accused her of being under the influence of drugs, suggesting that was why she had become violent. He even speculated that Ava might have conspired with Biz to eliminate Derek in order to claim his inheritance. Furious and indignant, Ava stormed off, determined to find her husband on her own. The three of them, Ava, Robert, and Sandy, wandered the streets, holding up Derek's picture and asking people for information throughout the night, but they found no leads. Upon returning home, Robert once again brought up the incident at the club, continuing to argue with Ava. She suggested that the police might have colluded with Biz, allowing the case to be ignored without any action taken. Accused and used unfairly, Ava reacted strangely and ultimately retreated to her room in anger, resolute not to give up. The next day, Robert and Sandy decided to leave Ida on the island to continue searching for Derek while they returned to the U.S. As they departed, Ava immediately went to the zipline. JoJo, seeing her, became worried and started to call the owner, but before he could do anything, Ava quickly charged at JoJo, threatening to drop him in the middle of the zipline if he didn't tell the truth. Terrified by Ava's threat, JoJo finally confessed that Manny was behind everything. He explained that Manny had called the ambulance and forced him to lie, but JoJo didn't know where Manny was now. Ava quickly recorded his confession as evidence and immediately handed it to the inspector, urging him to find Manny to locate Derek. However, instead of taking action, the inspector ordered the officers to arrest Ava. In a panic, she tried to escape by punching one of the officers, but was quickly cornered by a group of other officers who left no room for maneuver in their effort to control the situation. Finally, they handcuffed Ava, and the inspector announced that she was being arrested for forcing JoJo to confess to a crime, endangering his life, and that she would be transferred to Puerto Rico for trial. While being escorted by an officer to a cruise, Ava suddenly had an idea. She requested to use the restroom, and although the officer reluctantly agreed, he had to follow her inside because her hands were cuffed. Once in, as he approached to grab her a paper towel, Ava quickly struck, knocking him out the moment she freed herself from the cuffs. Then, she decisively jumped off the cruise ship. That evening at a restaurant, Ava changed into a cleverly designed camouflage outfit. She returned to the same club where Manny had taken her before. Manny was happily surrounded by a group of girls, while Ava sat from a distance, waiting for the perfect moment to act. Immediately after, Manny headed to the restroom, and Ava quickly followed, locking the door behind them. She attacked, overpowering and capturing him, forcing him to provide information about Derek, with Manny's face pressed against the toilet bowl. However, he repeatedly shook his head, insisting that he didn't know anything. Manny only admitted that he had instructed Jojo to lie out of fear of being arrested by the police for living illegally on the island. Ava decided to show him a sketch of the ambulance driver and asked for information about them. Manny confirmed that they were Omar and Tito, the two most notorious criminals in the area. When Ava inquired about their whereabouts, Manny agreed to help her. The next morning, Manny and Ava began their search for Derek. They visited several locations and asked many people, but they didn't gather any useful information. Suddenly, Ava noticed a poster on a nearby wall featuring a tattoo that looked exactly like the one on Omar's arm. Manny recognized the poster and explained that it was related to a famous fight venue. When Ava saw Tito outside, she decided to use Manny's car to chase after him, leaving Manny behind. She began tracking Tito and texted her location to Manny. Tito stopped at a spot and entered a rundown building. Ava cautiously followed him. When Tito realized she was there, he swung a baseball bat but missed. Ava quickly subdued Tito, injuring him in the process of the fight. Ava began to interrogate Tito in a room, but he stubbornly refused to reveal any information. Determined to get answers, Ava threatened to stab him. Under pressure, Tito finally admitted that he didn't know much, only that Omar had taken money from someone to release Derek at a specific location. He also mentioned that Omar held all the details. Ava quickly used Tito's phone to text Omar, luring him to meet. When Omar arrived, Ava lunged to attack, but he easily subdued her. During the struggle, Ava was forced to shoot Omar, burying all information about Derek. Next, Ava found herself sitting in a holding cell, facing a rigorous interrogation from the inspector. Despite insisting that Derek was still alive and revealing that Tito and Omar had admitted to transporting him in an ambulance, the inspector still didn't believe her. He accused Ava of deliberately causing Derek's death, complicating the situation even further. Eventually, the inspector ordered Ava to be transferred to headquarters for a deeper investigation. That night, 2 police officers led Ava into the woods, and she quickly realized they intended to execute her instead of taking her to headquarters. In a decisive moment, Ava skillfully dislocated her thumb to escape from the handcuffs without being noticed. As one of the officers approached, she immediately took him down with a deadly blow to the neck, then turned to finish off the second officer with a precise strike. After receiving a threatening call from Ava, the inspector panicked and hurriedly grabbed a gun from a hidden compartment, rushing to his daughter's room. Once there, Ava threatened to kill his daughter if he didn't reveal the truth. In fear, he was forced to admit that the surgeon who operated on Derek had been under the influence of drugs, and it was this serious mistake that led to Derek's death. The inspector also revealed the reason behind his actions. Many years ago, he had accidentally made a girl pregnant, and the surgeon helped him cover it up in exchange for favors. Now, he felt obligated to protect the doctor and conceal Derek's case. Derek, hearing the whole story, Ava presented the inspector with 2 harsh choices: either he would shoot himself or go to the bathroom and commit suicide with a knife. He chose the second option, accepting his fate. Ava arrived at Manny's house in tears, filled with sorrow, and announced that Derek was dead, revealing the involvement of both the doctor and the inspector in this tragedy. Manny comforted her, advising her to return to the U.S. the next morning and promising to help her arrange everything. However, Ava had a different plan. The next morning, she went to the hospital where Derek had been treated. Following Lisa's trail, Ava attacked the receptionist and knocked her out. Then, she took Lisa's car and raced into the hospital. Inside, Ava confronted the doctor the inspector had mentioned. After being brutally tortured, the doctor could no longer withstand it and revealed that he could help her bring her husband back. However, he also warned that she had to follow his instructions to ensure Derek's safety. The doctor showed Ava footage from the security cameras, proving that the thugs had entered the hospital with Derek. After a moment, Silvio, the club owner, appeared from the elevator with Derek and his accomplices. It turned out that it was Silvio, not Biz, who was behind everything. Ava, disguised as a nurse according to the doctor's plan, caught Silvio's eye, and he immediately tried to flirt with her, making inappropriate advances in the operating room. As the doctors began to extract bone marrow samples from Derek to pass on to Silvio, Ava skillfully injected Silvio with a sedative, rendering him unconscious. As soon as Silvio realized what was happening, he erupted in anger and prepared to confront the doctor. However, before he could act, Ava swung her gun at him, forcing the doctor and Silvio's henchmen to surrender their weapons and remove everything one by one. Ava got ready to take Derek away, but Silvio stopped her, explaining that he was suffering from a rare type of cancer and couldn't find a suitable donor. Then Silvio offered Ava anything she wanted in exchange for Derek's blood cells, emphasizing that he had no intention of harming Derek and only needed his help. However, Ava ignored Silvio's pleas and decided to leave with Derek. As she tried to escape, Ava encountered one of Silvio's henchmen in the hallway. A tense gunfight broke out, but Ava quickly subdued him and rushed into the elevator with Derek. Inside the elevator, Ava breathed a sigh of relief, her face reflecting a sense of satisfaction as she took a moment to regroup. When Ava and Derek exited the hospital, Silvio and his goons opened fire on them. Ava immediately shot at the gas cylinders, causing a massive explosion, which gave her the chance to aim her gun at Silvio and quickly drive away with him. On the way, Ava contacted Manny to let him know she was on her way. Derek still kept his gun trained on Silvio, and when Silvio mocked him, Derek retaliated by shooting him in the leg. Silvio fell out of the car, but still tried to crawl to his henchman's vehicle to continue chasing them. Meanwhile, Manny tasked the neighborhood kids with guiding Ava and Derek. By the time Silvio finally arrived, after a tough struggle, the kids retaliated by throwing coconuts at him. Manny and his friends were ferrying Ava and Derek across the river on a bamboo raft when Silvio and his men opened fire in the chaos, forced to find a way to escape. The three decided to swim across the river. Fortunately, they avoided all the gunfire and quickly reached the opposite shore, getting into a vehicle to flee. Meanwhile, some people had provided Silvio with information, telling him where Ava and Derek were, prompting him and his gang to quickly pursue them into Manny's neighborhood. They first burst into Manny's house, threatening him and demanding to know the whereabouts of Derek and Ava Shah. Despite being constantly threatened, Manny steadfastly refused to disclose any information. Silvio then tried to extract information from Manny by threatening his younger brother, but after facing threats from their mother, Silvio was forced to leave the scene, warning Manny that he needed to cooperate. Silvio and his henchmen proceeded to search all the nearby houses and interrogate residents, but no one was willing to reveal anything. During the search, Ava unexpectedly encountered a man and quickly subdued him. Although in serious condition, Derek bravely fought back and defeated another henchman when he realized that Silvio's goons were being taken out by Ava. A fight broke out between them. Initially, Silvio had the upper hand, but Ava quickly turned the tide, overpowering him and holding a knife to his throat. Police located Derek and escorted him out. Everyone present, including Derek, intervened to prevent Ava from killing Silvio, pleading with her to drop the knife. Suddenly, Biz appeared on the scene, carefully and patiently calming Ava before taking the knife from her hand. He declared that kidnapping or harassing tourists on the island was an unforgivable act. Then, Biz blindfolded all the children and decisively dealt with Silvio by slitting his throat. He offered the police double the amount of money from Silvio to ensure the release of Ava and Derek, while ordering them to return to the U.S. In the final scene, Manny took them to the shore, where they prepared to continue their journey by boat. He hugged each of them, and Ava expressed her heartfelt gratitude before they left. The film concluded with the end of their heroic adventure. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for the latest updates from us.